G'day folks, welcome back to the channel for episode number 12 of our ATV Skater Templar playthrough, where there's a couple things I want to talk about at the start of this episode. The first one is continuing from the previous episode where I was talking about force moving, is just here. Now force move, I've bound it to Alt because I don't use Alt normally, but Alt is typically used for showing gear on the floor without your filter blocking it. So if that's something that's important to you, don't change it to Alt. The default for force move is F. That was uncomfortable for me because of where I have Vias Might here. If you are using Vias Might on your right click, F will probably be fine. But regardless, I've moved this to Alt. You can bind it to a number pad button and hold it down, turn number pad off, and it will just stay on forever. But what does it do? Well, at the moment, if you mouse over, let's go find actually a target dummy so I can show it a little more easily. Okay, target dummy's here. If you put your mouse over it, it will highlight it in red, and you will push the button, you will charge to it, and you will bash it with your shield, but the fire will not actually go under it. So the fire will stay like this, and it won't actually hit it. Let's see if we can't get rid of those guardians for a second. Okay. So you're next to it, and you dash up to it, and the fire doesn't actually go under the training dummy. The Aether fire did because I procced it with the bash, but you see what I mean. You're not actually going to... it triggers with the dot. You're not actually going to put fire underneath the target. Whereas if you hold down your force move, you can actually click underneath it and it will move to where your mouse is and not just go to the target and then stop. So that's what that was about. And the other thing is regarding devotions. Now I checked the guide and I realized that it actually says to get Soleil's Witchblade next and not Sailor's Guide, so these 3 points would not be there. However, with the way the guide is set up, you actually don't have enough red to take Soleil's Witchblade. And you already have a point in the crossroads, because our only other red is coming from Viper over here. So actually you need to take an entire extra cluster, for example the Jackal here will give us 3 red, then take Soleil's Witchblade, then take points out of the Jackal. These are points that you don't have according to the Grim Tools, but yeah, you have to do a little bit of mucking around. So I'm going to do the mucking around for you, but before we get to that point, I do need to get a few more constellation points. I could take the 4 points out of Viper, take these 2 from here, take the blue out of this, take the Jackal. That would give me 1, 2, 3, 4. So with 1 more point I could do it, I would just not have all of the Viper. So that's the first thing we're going to do today. We're not actually going to start Ashes of Malmouth right at this very second. We are first going to go back to town and grab some more dynamite and some scrap, because we're going into Eastmarch. And actually we're going to do the Hidden Path as well today, because that also has a devotion shrine. So we should go do that first, now that I'm thinking about it. Apparently another pad doesn't work for this, so that's fine, lovely. Right. So I have all this set up. Let's just fix the camera. There we go. Okay, so first stop is just outside of Devil's Crossing. I actually had not planned on doing the Hidden Path now, but it does have a devotion point that I want in it, and it's definitely worth doing at some point because it also has a skill point. And now is as good a time to do it as any, and of course the road is blocked, so we get to take the scenic route. If you are doing the Hidden Path, you can pretty much do it at any point past Fort Icon, realistically. Once you get to Fort Icon, you can come back and do it, because the third stop is just here, sort of halfway between the Astrakhan Valley and the Astrakhan Road Rift. You definitely want to make sure you have decent poison and acid resist for this section. Absolutely everything is going to explode in poison clouds and throw poison at you and like attack you with poison damage. It's poison all the way down. Forget about turtles, it's poison. So coming up here to the boss, and I'm going to just kind of dash around, leave a bunch of fire on the ground, and then walk around the corner here and hope that they run over it. Kind of worked. Okay, so Guardian of Dreeg is up here. And he should die pretty quickly. These bosses are ironically a lot easier to kill when you're dashing around, because with a normal build you'll be maybe not trying to stand in place, but you tend to stand in place to cast your skills, and then they put poison under you and you die. So with the dashing around you tend to avoid all of that sort of stuff. So this is the Dreeg Sect legs. These are acid retaliation pants. These ones happen to have a decent pet affix on them, but we're not here for those. So part 2 is a bit of a trek. We'll be going through a lot of beasts here, so if you are looking to increase your reputation with Homestead, you can get a nice pack of champion beasts, or several nice packs of them, throughout this part of the game. So if you were looking to grab a pair of those boots that I was talking about the other day, and you didn't quite have the reputation needed, this is a good place to get them. So Mage Storm is Lightning and Aether. It's Mage Fire is Fire and Aether, which might actually use, because we do have the Aether damage coming from Aether Fire. It's definitely not a bad thing to invest into Aether damage if it doesn't cost you any fire damage. What's this one? Terra. Chaos. Nope. Yeah, having percent Aether damage is not a waste on this build like it might be on some other fire builds. But it's not something you should be targeting either. You shouldn't go looking for it. I feel like I'm missing a buff, but I'm not. Let's go do this totem because we're in the area. This guy. I couldn't see him behind the totem. I was wondering why it wasn't done. Okay, turn the loot back on. Let's see what we got. Bunch of pet stuff. Lovely. Infernal could be good for someone who didn't get lucky with weapon drops like I did. Maybe a crossbow is not the, or a gun I think it was, is not the best one, but Infernal will give you fire damage, percent fire damage, blah blah blah, and that fireball proc. It's not awful. I mean, obviously you want to just, you know, go get yourself a blue weapon, and you just go get it, and, you know, it's fine. Or even get 2 blue weapons. It's probably the better way to do it. But not everyone can just do that. Perdition set is everywhere. I think I probably get at least 1 or 2 complete Perdition sets just about every playthrough. Or at least I feel like I do. Okay, this guy's going to be relatively easy for this build. I'm going to drag him over here. I said the cursed words. Said he was going to be easy, which means he's probably going to kill me now. Alright, one thing about him, when you kill him, just stand off to the side for a little bit. He's going to leave these little purple things on the floor, and you don't want to be standing in those while you're looking at the loot. He did drop his pants, which is firstly phrasing, but also these pants are quite good, especially for any character that does hit damage, which for the record is not us. Sadly, I need the poison resist from my current pants, and the thing that sets these pants out from the rest of the pants in the game is the attack damage converted to health, which actually doesn't really help us all that much. But these are decent pants, and they never drop when you are actually looking for them. Let's just chuck all this in that last tab. And right, that's number 2 done. So stop number 3, as I said, is up here in the mountains. I believe this portal is closest. There's a decent amount of running for all of these, unfortunately. This one is in there, and yes, this is definitely the closest portal. So the first Guardian, the Guardian of Dreeg, is all about the acid retaliation. The second Guardian, the Guardian of Soleil, I think it is. Yeah, Soleil, is good for sort of combat classes who hit things because of the attack damage converted to health, or even for anyone doing spell damage who happens to have a way to either have weapon damage on the spell you're using or to add it somehow. They will also benefit from that. And the third one is for pets. This is the Bismiel sect. And these pants are all about pets. Fortunately, or unfortunately rather, none of them really apply to us. But we need to kill them anyway. So killing the 3 Guardians will get you the 3 stones and also an attribute point. Alright, there we go. There's our attribute point. It's going straight into physique. And we're just going to leave back to the Burridge Village. So now that you've done those 3, you've actually completed the hidden path. But you have these ward stones here in your inventory. Where's the other one? There it is. So you have these 3 ward stones, and we are heading to the area where you use those. So, Burridge Village, and then you head sort of southeast-ish. Well, not southeast-ish, it's literally southeast. And you just follow this road. You will eventually come to this bridge, which is out. It's going to cost you 1 dynamite and 10 scrap and 8,000 iron bits. And then we come over here, and we more or less just follow the road. We want to head, well, basically east. You don't want to head over a bridge, so if you find a bridge, you've gone too far. You do want to head a little bit south, but mostly east. There's a bunch of stuff in this area that I'm not really going to cover because we're not here for it. However, one of the things we're here for is this door. But we will be coming back for that, because the other thing we are here for is a devotion shrine, which is going to be over this way. And Ancient Savage, we should probably do that. I like gear. So, Ancient Savage Totem. Let's just go ahead and spread fire all over the place. Turn the loot off so we can see what's going on. That's it. Okay. I actually expected a lot more monsters, or a lot harder monsters. But anyway, that's fine. Did we get anything decent? Probably not, but I am looking for new boots, because the resistance on my current boots is not very great. But it doesn't look like we got anything particularly amazing. So heading back up here, once you get past the that doorway, you kind of want to stop heading south and start heading north, because there is a series of bridges in a goblin village up this way that we want to go through. Just leave fire on the bridge, see if anyone follows us. There is a bunch of quests over here as well. The final one for the Death's Vigil will bring you here. I think the first one, or maybe the second one for Anasteria, who we haven't unlocked yet, will bring you here. Is it Anasteria or Anastasia? Whatever, the ethereal witch who's hanging out in the bottom of Fort Icon. She will send you here to kill Kaliskar. The Death's Vigil will send you here to kill a bunch of undead and collect those journals, which will then point you towards Ouroboros. Actually, it won't point you towards him, but it kind of gives you some backstory on him. And you will end up finding him later in Forgotten Gods. But for now, we just want to continue heading to the east because of this ruined shrine here. There's two different ways you can come through this section. I happen to take the southmost route, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Always worth killing anything with a star above its head, just for the reputation gains, which you would have seen at the top of the screen there. Okay, so here's our devotion shrine, and here is Kaliskar. So we are going to go and kill Kaliskar. Done. So we got an MI and 2 blues for that, which is not bad at all. And we have the first devotion shrine, which I'm not going to spend now because I am going to be doing some respecking to get my hands on Soleil's Witchblade in a moment. Looking back here, this is where we need to go. That is about almost one full map screen, and it's going to be closer to run back than it will be to portal out and come back in. So we're going to do that. Realistically though, it's about the same, so it's probably not a big deal. So this area we're about to head into is the Temple of the Three. If you are coming into the Temple of the Three, make sure your resistances are under control. I think you will take pretty much every type of damage in this section. So if you're not maxed with everything, or, you know, close to maxed with everything, probably go and sort that out. I think you're probably safe from too much Aether and Chaos, but Drieg is very much poison related, Soleil is sort of fire and, well, I guess probably a little bit of Aether, because it's Eldritch Fire. And Bismail is all of these pets, but lots of lightning, lots of elemental, lots of poison. There's going to be poison everywhere. Alright, here we go. Into the temple proper. Now, as I said, we're pretty much just here for the devotion shrine. However, there is also a skill point available at the end of this dungeon, which is absolutely worth getting. So the idea is to keep towards the northwest side, so up this side, because that's where the devotion shrine is. However, it does look like we're going to have trouble with that. Just keep heading northwest if we can. Okay, you can see the devotion shrine there. It is a desecrated shrine, so it's going to be a fight for the shrine. And we've run into a dead end, which is unfortunate. I've gone too far. Or have I? Nope, yep, we can go that way, good. So we have got a totem as well, which is quite nice. There is level 43, which I would like to put this new weapon on, but since we're in the middle of the temple, I will leave it for now. We are putting points into Overload for the additional burn damage there. And let's go ahead and pop this. We did get the quote-unquote bad dangerous shrine. These are the Eldritch abominations, I guess you call them. What do they call them? I'm gonna die here? No, good. Alright, Eldritch Horrors. Okay. So these are the Eldritch Horrors. Can be quite dangerous, especially if you get a lot of those big guys. They have tons of health, they will charge you forever, and they do a decent amount of damage. Right. Let's go ahead and turn this shrine on. Alright, that was a Corrosive of Wildfire, which could be good if you don't have a blue weapon. Something like that, I think, is probably going to be fine. Where did it go? Here we go. Maybe not so much. Alright, let's do this. Alright, devotion point unlocked. Let's go get our skill point. This sentinel at the end here is a decently difficult fight, I guess. As long as your resistances are under control, he should be pretty tame, really. If your resistances are not under control, you better be Johnny on the spot with your potion. The other thing to keep in mind is he will drop down totems, which I don't think I'm going to have enough damage for him to die before you see them. The totems, well, he didn't get to use them. But if he drops down the green crystals, sorry, not totems, just be aware that they will shred your resistances and do damage over time, so you want to avoid them. Even not knowing exactly what they do, you should probably still know to avoid them. He did drop his helmet, which I'm not sure why it's that fancy blue color, but cooldown reduction on that is nice, and other than that, it's kind of meh. And another piece of the Perdition set, because as I said, that thing is everywhere. We were going to try and wear that ring. I think it was going to swap out the Cronley's Signet. I'll have a look at that in a little bit. So this guy is basically here to give you a skill point. And from this point you can leave. You can head down into this little room for a little bit more loot. The very rare time where one of those chests will give you something, well, let's be honest, not useful, but something blue at least. Okay, so with that said, let's sell all of this rubbish and then look at maybe starting some Ashes of Malmouth stuff after we do a little bit of respecking. So as I mentioned, I am looking for a new pair of boots. The ones we got are actually not as bad as I thought they were. This ring is quite good. The regen and attack speed are nice, but having 3 resistances above 10% is pretty good on a ring. You can see our current Cronley's Signet technically has 4 resists, but I basically ignore the fire and lightning because they are not elemental. So I look at that and say, that is 29% pierce resist and 6% chaos resist, and that's it. At least that's what I'm seeing in my head. These boots could potentially replace those. but I'm going to leave them for now. If you don't have a weapon similar to this to be using, as I said, do a search for rare, and just look through all the rare weapons, and you will probably find something that is okay to use. This merchant's dead now, unfortunately, which also means that the respec Sedina is no longer there either, which means we are not doing any respecking right now. It means we are going to... this is for the quest for the Ethereal Witch that I'm not going to do. You absolutely can go and turn that in. She will remove some of your Black Legion reputation, but she does give XP, so it's not a complete waste to do it. But I'm not going to. What I am going to do is swap that weapon in. And I'm going to make a new flint. You can just use the old one. I'll be honest, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on Ashes of Malmouth. So once again heading to the Birch Village Rift, and we're going to head north, northeast-ish. They have blocked the road here, unfortunately, so we're taking a slight detour. All of this stuff is going to be quite low level, so you can safely ignore it until you blow up the barrier, which is just here. Nope, this is a blockade in the road. Again, we just detour around it, it's not a big deal, it's a minor annoyance. Okay, Aether barrier, purge the barrier. Just here there is going to be a new friend for us to play with, who we are going to just kind of zip back and forth until he dies. That should be it, yep. And now we more or less just move through here. You can stop and kill all this stuff if you want. I will often stop for the Wendigos if I'm playing a character that wants one of their medals. So like this guy here, the Marrow Eater, could potentially drop a Wendigo Glare or a Wendigo Eye. Could also drop a Wendigo Spirit, which we will need one of in the near future for a quest. But I don't actually need their MIs for this build. That proc is on attack, right? Flame Brand on attack, yeah. The minus 8% resistances on that is pretty big deal. This is one of my favorite farming areas, so I'm going to go through this section pretty quickly, hit the places I know I need to go to, and then move on. The first place is just here, where there is not, but could potentially be a treasure trove, dynamite stash. There could be a totem here. If you're playing on Ultimate and you already have Nemesis with the Beasts, this is a really good place to check for Chupacabra. The other place we need to hit is this cellar door, but first there is a chest just here with a quest item. So we pick up Nane's stash, and then we head into the cellar. Now, the main thing to point out with this cellar is there is a boss in here called Avarice. She has another name, but I can't remember it. If you are feeling, a little bit squishy, maybe not quite up to it, do not fight her. She is actually a decently scary boss. There could be a totem here. It's almost always an ancient Aether totem. Good loot if you're into that sort of thing, which I definitely am. So Avarice will be on this platform here. Is she home today? Yes, she is. She's right there. Again, if you are not feeling up to it for whatever reason, do be aware that she is quite dangerous, and you can skip her without feeling particularly bad. especially if you're playing on hardcore. She burns nicely though, apparently. Okay, so if you didn't get the dynamite trove here, it will be here. It's not here, so I got it already. So the other place is just here. Obviously it can't be in both places. Unfortunately, you only get one. Then we head out the back door. And again, all around this area here is also quite good for finding Chupacabra if you're into that. He could be like here, could be over here, another place up here. It's like he's everywhere. This is the treasure trove. It's always going to be either here or back over here. Or there's one more spot just up ahead that I will show as well. If you're looking to farm for gear, this is definitely my favorite spot. Unless you have something like there's an amulet that gives you plus maximum vitality and chaos resistance. It's basically made to kill Chthonians. Like if I was designing an item to kill Chthonians, I'd make it that one. I think it also has either Shaman or Oathkeeper +1 level on it as well. So if you happen to have something like that that really increases your maximum resists against the Chthonians, then I would go and farm Darkvale Gate, Darkvale Village, and the Bloodgrove, because there's several different totem locations there, and you get not Avarice, you get motorbikes. No, you get what is her name? Zarya. You get Zarya at the top of the village as well. This will be the third and final location that the treasure trove could be in this area. First time through here, talk to Garrett Torvin, just keep talking, and eventually you will get to shove him into a rift gate. You can also just go one more option and do it that way. The text option is a little more polite doing it that way, but I don't think it makes any difference. Head directly west from there, and you will see the star on the map. That is going to be a blue chest for us to get. It will cost you a dynamite, but one dynamite for a blue chest is almost always going to be worth it. Court of the Ancestors, not great for us. So maybe actually the dynamite might have been worth more. Again, always worth killing these things with stars. And we ignore this cellar door. If Avarice is not in this other little underground area, she will be in here. Since we've already killed her in the previous one, she won't be in here. However, the totem probably will be. Since it wasn't in the last area, it's most likely in here. I think it only has 2 spawn points, although it's not in here, so it must have a third one that I'm not aware of. Probably another cellar somewhere. Maybe under the maybe the Barrow Home cellar. But regardless, this area you can safely ignore. There's nothing in here except potentially loot. So we're just going to leave, and we will continue heading to the west, or sorry, the east, for this rift. And we may as well head to the Coven before the end of the episode. There's nothing quest related in this next area, however there is a lot of good spots to go if you are farming Ugden Blooms. And if you're looking for Kuba for some reason, he can also be in this area. You're not going to find him on veteran difficulty though. You will know there's no way you'll have the reputation required to have him show up. But these stumps are really good for farming Ugden Blooms. So you hit those two, head down here. There's a few more. Where are we going? This way across the bridge. There's a little hidden area over here where you go under that little walkie bridge. There's another Bloom in here. There's also potentially a pack of champions in here. Didn't get the champions this time, unfortunately. Did get a pile of Blooms though. And I think this stash may be a one-time only thing, because I don't remember it being there on any of my other characters, so I probably hit it the first time and then forgot it existed. From there you can come down this way and then back up. There will be a trap. Some of these Bloom stumps are actually traps, like this one. So unfortunately I dipped out there. And then this little section here where you go back into the light. If I was doing an Bloom farming run, this would be the last one I check for. And I would now be portaling out and heading over to the Ancient Grove. This is not, however, a farming run, so we don't get to do that, unfortunately. I did skip Caraxes, I think. I'm pretty sure he's back this way. Yeah, he's at the back of this. So, more meat for the stew. There's another lore note in there, if you are so inclined. Like I said, I really do strongly recommend everybody to go read the lore notes, especially on your first playthrough. It really adds to the ambiance. It kind of expands the world, and it is quite grim. There's a whole lot of stories about people and what happened to them. It's definitely worth reading them. So Caraxes Fowl is a giant ghost crab. Is he a ghost? No, he's not. He is a giant crab, however. And we are here to kill him. So level 44. We just put all of our points into Overload until it's maxed. That is going to give us a bunch of offensive ability, which is the main draw for this. But it also gives you a chance to add Burning, Frostburn, Electrocute damage to anything you hit, which means when you charge through it, you'll bash it with your shield. You have a chance to add all of that burning damage to him. And the Aether resistance is not awful either. So again, we're just going to burn him down. The one thing I will say about holding the button down for force move is it does remove your ability to see their health, which is not ideal. With that said, kill him, take his heart, and head out. Either you can go back the way you came in, or you can complete the loop. It's basically a figure 8. And if you complete the loop, you can get a few more things to kill on the way out. Alright, we will head to the Coven now, directly with no more stops on the way. And I will do a little bit of respecking, and then that will be the end of the episode. I will do a quick summary of the respecking at the start of the next episode as well, just in case you want to skip this last little bit. But if you want to watch me do it and see how it happens, then just hang out for another minute or so. Alright, so we have made it to the Coven. And ordinarily I would go and talk to Garadia, I would run around, collect all the lore notes, blah blah blah, but we're going to do Spirit Guide first. So straight into devotions. I have 3 extras right at the moment. I'm going to reclaim all of these blue ones. That means I have 6. I need 1, 2, 3 to get the Jackal because I need the red. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points to get Eldritch Fire. So I also need to take 2 points out of the Viper. Which I can't do because I need them for the Behemoth, so I'm going to take 2 points out of Behemoth instead. Then we are going to spend the points in the Jackal, spend 5 points in Eldritch Fire, which I'm going to put on the Guardians of Empyrean. The guide doesn't actually have them bound to anything, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to reclaim the Jackal and put those back into Behemoth. Now, if you don't have... why do I have an extra point? Who cares? We're going for a Sailor's Guide next anyway. If you don't have enough Aether Crystals to do this... Okay, and I just had a whole bunch of sirens come through, so I'm going to cut that part of the video out and re-record it just here. This is probably the safest place to get a bunch of Aether Crystals to respec at level 44. You can get, I think it was 8, but you can just farm this little section here. This is the Gates of Necropolis. The portal is down here, and you basically just run up here. And you'll get a few here, a few more here, and you can continue. I think there's a couple more up here as well. But I don't need them, so I'm going to stop here. This is the safest place. The fastest place is actually to go to the Blood Grove and then do the mines just here. So this section is all full of Aether Fire, but because of that, it's also, I think there's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's piles of Aether Crystals all through this mine. As I said though, there is a lot of Aether Fire on the floor, and so this is definitely the dangerous but fast way to get a lot of Aether Crystals when the Warden's Lab is no longer scaling. The other thing you could do is just duck into Elite and go run up to the Warden's Lab and farm them there. Right, with that said though, I'm going to call that the end of the episode, so thank you all very much for watching. See you in the next one, and goodbye for now.